Oh, hello, everyone. Beautiful existence here. I trust that your day is going well. And I actually contemplated not coming on today for a little bit, but then had some things kind of show up. So I knew that I should come on here for at least a brief moment. Taking this space, let others come in. If you're watching this afterwards, thank you. Thank you for my subscribers and for people that return, share, like the videos. And I trust that you will find something that resonates with you. And yeah, if it doesn't, free to leave. Eucalyptus, very needed right now. A lot of kind of, especially in North America and this hemisphere, the northern hemispheres, it's the winter time. There's a lot of different frequencies going on. I won't say illnesses, but most people know them or think of them as sickness or sick or illness. But I know them as different types of frequencies, and some of them, generate and populate in different ways. But eucalyptus is a very, very high, holy scent, medicine, plant, presence, essence, soul, beingness. So that's what's in this. I'm very much enjoying it. It also is known, eucalyptus, I've said this before and I'll say it again, I'm sure, because yeah, so in the future, one of the things that I really am looking at doing, and I'm actually looking at starting it pretty soon, is to start growing eucalyptus. Because we're in a time period where this plant and its essence, its beingness, its frequency is going to rise up more and more, especially as people or souls that have chosen a particular path, because we're very much on a divergence now, a bifurcation, and subsets of that. But for those of us that live omnidimensionally, that are approaching and living dimensionally, it's very much the scent, the oil, the medicine, the energy of parsing out the different realities for people a lot easier, a lot better. Thank you for those coming here. Thank you for listening if you didn't catch the live. So, eucalyptus. And I guess I should preface by saying I don't have notes for today. Like I said a couple minutes ago, I wasn't planning on coming on. But there's some stuff that's been kind of like rumbling around, and I want to make sure that I am at least offering what I'm experiencing and my lived experience of things, as well as what's coming into me, any kind of channelings, any kind of information, because it might resonate with one other person out there. And so if it does, great. If it doesn't, you are free to leave. And if you have, malicious or nefarious energies about you, you can return to sender 1,000-fold, because it's not for me, and it's not for the people that this information or this channel or these videos is resonating with. So anyways, today I wasn't planning on being here, and I purposely have called in eucalyptus, and I'm sitting in it right now, because there's a lot of things that are starting to take place. And like I said, I really want to be able to put these out here in case other people are feeling these things too. You're not alone. Please leave comments, and let me know if this is happening for you. But I was not planning on coming on here. I've actually been fighting a different frequency, and the protection and everything is there, but sometimes there's like processes within your own DNA, within everything that's going on around you, that you have to keep stepping through, you have to keep transmuting. And they've made me like really weak physically. And I've had different side effects at different moments. And some people can equate these to like a lot of the solar flares that have been coming up. Some people can equate them to different experiences on what people think of as an awakening path, like, things going on with your pineal gland and your monthly cycle of rejuvenating your spinal fluid, the golden fluid that runs through us, which I know all of my cycles of all of that. But it didn't occur to me because it's so subtle this year, but we're already into 2025. And it occurred to me this morning, and it is really the main reason that I decided to come on here, even though I am, trying to move through these different frequencies and energies. And that is Saturn's omen this year. And I produced a video on it, and I'll link it down below. And so I want to preface by saying I have a bunch of different topics to kind of bring up right now today. And oh, by the way, in the background, this is the 10 Hertz binaural beats. So yeah. And I also was called by Plant Spirit to bring out the Cannabis Tarot and probably the Oraculum, because I want more people to know that the Oraculum, is its own bibliomancy tool, but it's a complement to, the Cannabis Tarot deck. You can use them in tandem, you can use them individually. But yeah, I I looked at one of the sacred cases that I have one of the decks in, and I was like, should I go on this morning? And because of this information, that I experienced, that my son experienced, I want to be able to share that. But also, like, I was looking at the deck's case, and it was like, yes, and bring me with you. So this has to be for somebody out there today, or whenever you're watching this, because that's one of the things, timelessness. So I guess let me start by saying I haven't been feeling the ability to do at all very much right now, which is perfectly fine. We all have to have our rest cycles, and they are very valid, and they're for your health overall and your wholeness. And that is something that I deeply honor and respect. And I hold the intention that other people deeply honor and respect that about me as well. Because when I am present, I try to give my all most of the time. I try to give all of my intention, my focus, my presence, my physical labor, my intellect, my creativity, all of it. I bring it. So when I can't bring it, for whatever reason or for multiple reasons, it's just, for me to be able to rest and recuperate from. But anyways, this morning, I was in that space where I was like, I scheduled this live, but I don't know if I'm going to come on. And then I stepped into a corner of my kitchen. And yes, it has electrical outlets in it. And yes, it's a corner that has a major electrical appliance. So I'm not discounting any of that, but that was not what came through me when I experienced it. When I randomly stepped into the corner and I plugged in my phone to be able to charge it, I experienced a time warp. I experienced like a time ripple. And I've been experiencing them more and more. And especially in the last year, I've had a couple of very, very noteworthy ones. In fact, I think that I've actually talked about it here. But this, as soon as I experienced it, I immediately knew that it was like a time ripple or warp. And it took me a second because the experience of them, or what I had, is it literally felt like what you would feel from like an earthquake wave, physically come through your body and then leave immediately. Like it's very, very quick, transition. But your intuition, your senses know that this isn't an earthquake wave. There isn't anything like that. Obviously, there weren't multiple, which there often are with earthquakes, and they run in waves. But this was legitimately what came through me was time. But immediately, I had Saturn like speak to me and make its presence known. And one of the things that I have been aware of and that I have had come into my remembering is not only because last year I produced the 2025 Saturn Omen video, which has its own cycle. It doesn't happen very often. It's super rare. And it's happening during this year when so many celestial things are happening again. It's almost to a certain extent like 2020, but in a different way, and in different ways, because different celestial mechanisms are happening. But this year in particular, and it really, legitimately starts triggering this spring, and it goes throughout the majority of this year, is the Saturn's Omen. And I produced a video, I'll put a link in it to below. But because Saturn has this encapsulation within its rings, and this omen is in relationship to its rings, time is highly, highly being distorted this year. For good, for bad, whatever way it is moving, for the souls that have chosen their path, for what has been happening and what people have been seeing and having come about in their life, for the massive shifts that are going to happen. This is like such a poignant year for Saturn's veils to be thinned so much of reality that so many different things can shift in significant ways, because we're talking about the mechanisms that monitor, manage, and control or encapsulate what we understand as linear time, which is a fallacy. Like when you start living dimensionally and omnidimensionally, you feel these things more. And I firmly believe that I'm more sensitive. I've been in practice to be more sensitive to them, but that there's many people experiencing them. And the reason why I knew is because I kept what happened to me private. And my younger son is with me. And I, maintain these things in memory. I write them down in my journals. I might even mention them on, a video or something. But I don't often speak them out loud unless I'm told to, or unless I'm called, or I have the intuition to speak them out loud. And so I was standing in this corner again, and it had been fine because, like I said, it happens very quickly, it moves through you, and then it's done. It's not continuous waves. It's just like a reprogramming of time that moves through you. Sometimes dimensions that are moving through you, dimensions that are dense enough to be able to affect your density. There's a lot of different reasons, mostly related to reality and time. But I was standing in this corner a while after that had happened, probably half an hour, 45 minutes, from our linear time that we know. And my younger son came into that corner and he was like, whoa. And he immediately thought, I think I got up too fast. But he had gotten up from the other side of the room. And it wasn't until he got to that corner that he actually had this like physical reaction. And I was just like, oh no, you just sensed it. You just felt like either this space has like a time warp, and it was like the first time that he had like entered it, like all morning. And I was just like, don't just dismiss something like this as like you just got up. too fast or something, because I just saw you get up from like the other side of the room. And I'm telling you, in this exact space is where I already felt this within the last hour. So, anyways, thank you for being here. Thank you for people popping in. Today's kind of just a rando talk about a bunch of different things. So, thank you, people coming in saying hello, hi. So yeah, Saturn this year and its omen this year is really significant, and it's already in effect. It's already starting. What is today? January 12th. It is. It is going to, and what I received from Saturn is it's going to become more and more obvious to more and more people. So if you're anywhere and you feel something that, which would feel like if you've been through an earthquake before and you feel like a wave goes through your body and you can physically feel it, you know, like energy, a shift in energy, but you don't feel subsequent waves, there isn't any earthquake or anything going on, you've experienced like a warp or a wave. And Saturn basically told me, like, after my younger son mentioned that and we had this discussion about it, I was just like, okay, I have to go on today, because it's the beginning of this year and it's going to get more and more intense for more people for the next couple of months. And it is literally reality shifting. It is reality shifting for a lot of souls. There's going to be physical reality shifting for sure. But Saturn and its encapsulation of what we call reality through like linear time is absolutely not going to be the same this year, and it doesn't let up until the beginning of next year. So it is all this year, and it is more intense from spring until into the fall. There's a little bit of fluctuation through the fall, but then it comes back strong, and it's, you know, then it starts moving in the opposite direction starting next year. So if you experience any of these time warps or any of these time distortions, you know, just note them. Note where you were, note what you were thinking about. It really could be relevant to the path that you've chosen. Mine is definitely relevant to a path that I have chosen, because I had affirmation from the person that I chose my path with immediately within an hour. They experienced the same thing. So those kind of synchronicities are very significant, at least for yourself. They could be affirmation, they could be foresight. But if you're feeling things like this, also know, you know, this information's for you. Your soul has chosen a particular path, and this is what is going to continue to roll out more and more for you in this path during this lifetime. So anyways, that was one of the things that I, like I said, was called to come on here and talk about. Okay, so I just asked Cannabis Plant Spirit if they wanted me to pull a card, and they said not yet. There's another thing that came up, and it has to do with omens, another omen, because I wrote my 4th book and published it. It's on Amazon, As the Universe, So the Soul, an Everyday Omen Guidebook. It's the first guidebook in years of research, because there's a ton of omens. Omens are known as the poetics of history for a reason, because they have interwoven with almost every culture and civilization for thousands, tens of thousands of years. And they are valid. Our humanity wouldn't have carried down this knowledge for all these civilizations and for tens of thousands of years if there was not validity in how omens help either affirm or predict the energies and the frequencies of other beingness in this material dimension and around you. They absolutely are valid. They're a significant part of history. Not a lot of people are talking about them. And I'm literally sitting here and telling you that not only am I experiencing already this year's omen about Saturn, which I might have more practice sensibilities to remember, but if you start experiencing time warps or time distortions this year, it is because you are being communicated with and at a frequency in your material and ethereal bodies to be in communication with the celestials, and more noteworthy Saturn, because Saturn and Saturn's rings in particular are these encapsulations of energy and frequency, here in this realm. So, yeah, one of the other things that I've had kind of just rumbling around in my head for weeks is, because I wrote this omen book, I have people randomly talking to me about omens. So please leave comments, leave questions, whatever it is in the videos, because I am interacting with people all of the time about the different omens, that they are feeling or that they're seeing, and they're just showing up everywhere. So anyways, I was having this conversation with a client, like a business client, and I was in one of my other heteronyms. I have very, very distinct beingness and placement with different heteronyms. Watch the Fernando Pessoa omnidimensional author video I did a couple of weeks ago if you want to understand more about what I'm talking about with heteronyms. But I was in a completely different heteronym, completely talking about business. And it was prior to the East Coast snowstorm, the Midwest and East Coast snowstorm that happened a couple of weeks ago. And we were talking about, a lot of people talk about weather, and there's huge amounts of data of weather omens, okay? The earth moves, and the beingnesses, gods, if people want to call them, the different elements, all of this, they have particular mechanisms, particular formulas for if they do certain things, that you see certain things, or the weather will turn a particular way. So weather omens are a huge omen. And I was just randomly talking, because often in conversations people will talk about things having to do with the weather. And this is a complete stranger. I've never talked to this person ever before in this lifetime that I have remembered. And they just randomly brought up how their child, because children want to have snow, and they want to have snow days, and they want to frolic in the snow, and they look forward to snow, especially if it's in a place where they don't often get snow. They told me that their child had this whole omen thing happening at their school, and that they had designed these superstitions around the omen of not predicting but manifesting the snow, and that they had to do this, and this, and they had to do it in that order, and they couldn't miss one of the steps or else the snow would not come, and that everybody in their child's classroom was doing this to get the snow to come to this place where it never snows during that snowstorm a couple weeks ago. And I haven't talked to them since. But I'm really interested to kind of touch base with them and see if their area ended up getting snow, and what their child, experience with their classroom was around this, because it's completely talking about omens. They set up they set up their classroom, this child's classroom, set up their own, or one of the children somehow remembered or had experience around omens and manifestation, and set up this entire superstition like chain of events to make sure that the snow would come to their area, and they would all be able to have like a snow day or snow days. And immediately I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is such an interwoven thread with humanity, that that children are like creating their own manifestation techniques for weather, right? And I'm just like, this is so amazing. I love this. And like I said, I need to contact them back and find out about that. But this is constantly happening. I remember things about that. I remember those little paper things that you would fold and you would put the little answers in and you would have to unfold them. There is so many aspects, especially still with childhood, luckily, of divination and being still connected to our higher selves, to our dimensionality and to otherness and to other beingness. And it really brought a bright spot to my heart to see that some random stranger's child across the country of the United States from me had this whole, like set of superstitions that they created to be able to manifest snow in their area so that they could go play and not have to go to school. It was just so endearing, and I loved it because it immediately brought back, joyful childhood memories for myself. I'm sure many people could relate with that. But it really has to do with like the actuality of things like predictions or divinations and our alternative abilities, things that most children are still very much connected to inherently, because they haven't been conditioned by ego, by other people's ego, by familial and social egos, as much as, teens and after. And you really have to start purposely practicing and remembering as an adult how to, dispel or to, bring a balance to or move past ego, move past self to be able to access other dimensions and dimensionality and realms and beingness. So anyways, I just wanted to bring that up too, because it's been, like I said, rumbling around there, and I just found that it was such a joyful thing to share. And okay, before I go into the other thing that I have kind of been called to discuss, or at least bring up lately, let's do a Cannabis Tarot card pull. And I'm leaving it to just like one card right now to kind of give like some general energies, to introduce people more to the deck as well, because it's a sacred deck. You have to contact us to be able to purchase the deck. And it will stay a sacred deck for many more years. It has a particular mechanism to it that I agreed to with Cannabis Plant Spirit. It is not a commodity. The Cannabis Tarot, the first and only one in the world, it is not under a consumeristic mechanism or outlet. It might be in the future. I don't know what the future holds, but right now I have committed to a non-consumeristic, foundation to the deck, and to keep it sacred for those that are actually called to it. And the deck's everywhere around the world. It's not just in multiple museums and collections. People have it all over the world. In fact, there's probably a few prominent YouTube tarot readers, I'm just gonna say, that have the deck. Anyways, so let's do a couple. I'm gonna pull out a card for today. What do we need to know for today? What do we need to know for today? Okay, so Page of Cups. And I will say upright, even though the gradient of energies, isn't that beautiful? I love this. The water, the blue, the red, the innocent. Creativity. So creativity is definitely coming up. Secure emotions. Walking a path. Okay, so we were talking about walking a path. See, the path ahead, the path across emotions. Each one of these archetypes, these cards, has a lot within it. So, water signs for sure with Cancer and Scorpio here. They have different hemp and cannabis plants as well. You can see that the clouds are like parting, and the page is walking on water. I mean, that is a very, very sacred, holy imagery and symbolism. Walking on water. If there's going to be anything that can walk on water, it's going to be when reality is so thinly veiled that material density does not hold the same form. And I really feel, and I'm being shown and told right now, this vision and what's being called through this as the walking on water, and that's what's really showing up to me. It is material reality shifting in such a significant way. And if I'm already feeling the warps right now on the 12th day of this, Julian calendar year, wow, I don't even know, because that is like material density, like shifting. And what I'm shown and told with this is that this is when these shifts of people moving out of the density of materiality is going to start happening. So this is the first year that we're going to start shifting out of material density. For those people that feel the Kali Yuga is like over, we're shifting back into the upward spike of the 26,000 year cycle. Who calculated that? It was it Graham Hancock, or I don't remember if it was Greg Braden. I don't know. I'd have to look back, but okay, let's look at the Oraculum. So it's its own bibliomancy tool, like I said, but it's also a companion to the deck. So let's see, the index is in the back of it, so you can look up all of the different pages, because each card has 2 pages, and I'll show you that. Okay, so Page of Cups. And what you'll see is the card, and then reversed and forward, and then you'll see the bibliomancy tool for the first things that pop out to you. And it's going to be the gradient of all of these different energy frequencies, what's in the bibliomancy tool for what is supposed to come out for you. But then the other pages also go into numerology, which the Page of Cups in numerological senses is a 10. That's actually the hertz that we're listening to right now. So that's very appropriate. The Page of Cups, if you have a question in mind, think it right now, or think about the question that you have in mind, because the Page of Cups is a yes for that question. So many things. Myers-Briggs, palmistry, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, Celtic, Norse, Aztec, Assyrian, Hindu, pantheons. The chakra is the root chakra, so, color specific, very appropriate with red, deep red. I Ching is 57, the sun. It means gentle, transparent, and the wind. So wind is very much still a part of this archetype, even though it is water, is walking on water. Wind, the clouds, you can see the sky. It's all interwoven and interconnected. The element is earth of water. So yeah, it's the sphere of elements. The ruling planet is Venus in the water signs. So yeah, hopefully some of that resonated for you. And the Oraculum is a plethora of all these different types of lineages that go through each one of the tarot cards and the different elements to it. If you have a different DNA that you associate more with Hindu, or if you associate more with Egyptian, or if you're at a phase in your life where you're doing past life and you have Buddhism come in, the Oraculum is going to show you the different pantheons, the different elements, the different aspects of the celestials that go along with not just the cannabis tarot, but any tarot, major tarot. The Oraculum is made for that. I published that on Halloween in 2022. And so, yeah, I'd been working on the Oraculum for quite a while. Hi, thank you for saying hi. Thanks for coming in here. So, yeah, if you've been thinking about a question, the answer is yes. This is your confirmation, Page of Cups. It also is, creativity. It's a page, so there's innocence there. It's emotions. What I am receiving for sure from this card right now is that walking on water element, and what we are in 2025. If anybody is going to walk on water, it is going to be because our material density and the veils of the encapsulation of energy and frequency that Saturn has on our dimension are already lifting. They are already transmuting. They are already shifting, because I experienced it this morning and so did my younger son. It's already starting to happen. So if we are moving on up to the pie in the sky. This is the year that it starts, man, seriously. And there are really, really sacred celestial events happening, not just the transitioning of planets into other houses and signs. That absolutely is happening, and a lot of that is happening this year. But in the sky, when you can go and see the celestials with your own eyes in the sky, not even a telescope, but even with a telescope, if you can see them, you are a direct energy transference. So you have to really think about what it is you're watching. It has always been advised never to watch eclipses, ever, because those are more maleficent celestial events. You are directly taking in negative energy. If you're in a place where you can see a total eclipse, it is not advised. Like I said, it just hasn't. But there's plenty of other celestial events that are highly advised. In fact, Venus is a star of the show this year in so many ways, as an evening star, as Aphrodite, love. Well, if you're talking Page of Cups, you want to have like some kind of love or something come in. That is, that's the beginning of some high emotions with that. I mean, this is some of what you'll find with the upright or the reversed with the Page of Cups and the descriptions of each one of the cards. Definitely possibility, spirituality, psychic, intuitive, good news, an admirer. If you're open, you know what I mean? Like if you feel like you're open to possibly meeting somebody, there is definitely a possibility. For sure. Somebody might be walking across the water to come find you. Or flying. Or taking, I don't know, some method of, transportation to come find you. For some reason that feels deeply personal. Okay, this is my 10-year anniversary of being married to myself and a polygamist, and it has been going awesome. And I am producing a limited edition letterpress poetry book that was supposed to be published in 2020, but we all know what the fuck happened in 2020. Hindsight is 2020. Anyways, it is supposed to be produced this year on my 10th year polygamy anniversary, and I'm going to. And it's going to be a limited edition, signed, numbered, personally dedicated, piece for select people. If you're interested in those kind of things, I have my letterpress printer, soul that I know very deeply, that I have helped and been able to see their soul's authentic frequency and energy in their embodiment in this lifetime. And they have a letterpress printer, and it has to do with my alumna at Naropa University and the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics. So it's very fitting that it's a poetry limited edition letterpress book, probably a chapbook. Yeah, it's going to be very special. And I'm super happy. But for some reason, I feel like somebody's traveling across water to find or seek out somebody else. Yeah, the veils are thin this year. The veils are thin. There could be some big shifts in societies, in the world, in the earth. There's definitely going to be big shifts in the celestials. And all of that energy reigns free down here on us. So thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for subscribers. Thank you for liking or sharing. Please leave comments. Please tell me about things having to do with omens. I will find out about that child in their class and whether or not their manifestation of the snow days came true. I guess in ending, one of the things that I wanted to also bring up, and that is coming about a lot more, is now that I'm like kind of on YouTube more frequently. I'm a researcher. I look at things. I kind of try them out myself. This is who I am. This is what I love doing. This is why I'm the academic oracle, and why I'm completing at least one PhD. Yes, I have multiple PhDs inside of me. I have so many books already in various stages of research and being written and drafted and possibly printed. Like, God, Goddess willing, I just ask for the time in this lifetime. And Saturn and Venus know my commitment that I agreed to years ago. I just ask that I'm able to facilitate everything that's already been seeded and put inside of me in this lifetime. Because it is for you. It is all for everyone else. Like, yes, I live this. Yes, this is my experience. But yes, this is really me. Like, I haven't been out there for a long time because I got to be very internationally known years ago and went through that whole, breaking GoDaddy's servers, having over 1 million people on my website in less than an hour, just craziness in the past. And it was fun, and it's a fun, wild ride. I've had it happen a couple times, but it's not deeply meaningful. It's not deeply meaningful, at least for me. And one of the things in this reflection, in this time, mostly since I've been married to myself since 2015, but especially in a couple of years prior to 2020 and since 2020, focusing on the things that are deeply meaningful for me and my soul, and for what I want my life to be able to contribute to others outside of this lifetime, has become more and more the priority and the gauge, the absolute gauge for what I'm willing to participate in and what I'm not. Like I said, when I come to somebody or I come to something, a client, a job, a project, a relationship, I am trying to, and I have actively in my mind most of the time, I am trying to give my best self, my full intention, the best presence that I can, ego aside, like distractions aside, like everybody has them. This is one of the things we have to deal with embodiment, because it's, I think it's a game, but it's however you want to see it. I also see everything as a glass half full. But we're here to participate, and our souls agreed to be embodied and to participate, to add to this whole mechanism that's happening within this dense material reality, within this dimension. And so I'm participating. So when I know that I need to not participate and I need to rest because I have to take that time for myself so that I can come back and I can give myself authentically, rawly, sometimes as a Scorpio ascendant and tropical, extremely rawly, because I don't tolerate bullshit anymore. I don't like it. It doesn't resonate with me. And, unless it's something where, you feel like you have to or something, it's just like, do the thing. Do it. My grandfather told me a long time ago, who went through the Depression, do it right the first time so that you just don't have to keep doing it, because then your rate of return of how much energy and time that you've taken to do something, you're not depleting that. You're not giving yourself less of a return because you have to give more time to it, because you have to get more energy to it. Don't procrastinate. Get it done. And that came up quite a bit in the last couple of weeks too, in various situations where he wasn't really just necessarily saying, though I think at the time he was telling me as a child, just do it right the first time. Do your best the first time. Because then inside yourself, you tried your best. If you still didn't do it right, then you're learning the lesson of it so that you can do it right or better the next time. But if you didn't give your all to it, if you didn't face it, you can't transmute it. You can't get through it. You have to face it. What he ultimately was saying is the same thing that happens with any energy. And sometimes we have some heavenly help from the celestials, like this year, when the veils of reality are thinner, when material density is thinner, when we can make those shifts and those changes more significantly and take a higher leap quicker, when we can walk on water. Now I have my Southern Baptist preacher past lifetime coming out here, you guys, so you better pay attention. When we can walk on water through celestial help, because the veils are thin, in 2025, take those leaps. Face your demons. Face those challenges. Transmute them quicker, easier, more directly. Do the work, do it right the first time. Give yourself grace. Sometimes we all stumble a lot for a while. But if you know inside that thing needs to shift, whatever it is, that's this time, this year, Saturn's giving us the go. I'm telling you, we're already experiencing it, just not me, other people, other loved ones that I trust, and I know that they're having it right in front of me. We are going to feel time shifts, time warps, because we are given the opportunity to shift things. Shift them in yourself first, but face the demons, face the others, face the situations, face the challenges, move through that shit the easiest and quickest way that you can. Because you can walk on water. You'd be surprised at what you can get done when you face shit, when you do it right the first time. But give yourself grace, because we're human. We're not perfect. Many religions know this. The only perfection is God or Goddess. But yeah, try to do it right the first time. Because ultimately that is transmuting things. That is how you shift things. You have to face it. When you face your fears, the monsters dissipate. They don't have any hold on you anymore. The demons don't have a hold on you anymore. When you face them, when they know that you face them, they don't have a hold on you. Because you've already transmuted that energy and now you're walking out the other side. Bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. Anyways, my boys know, some people know, every once in a while that Southern Baptist preacher will come out, yo, yo, yo. I don't know where. But it is authentically me. And that is the one thing that I wanted to leave. The more that I'm on YouTube, the more that I observe other people's channels, the more that I sit and I feel out for what channels resonate for me. I will find a topic, I will find something, and I'm finding this curve that's happening because in general, pretty much I think a lot of humanity is at the point that I'm at. We're not taking any shit anymore because we remember our soul sovereignty. We remember that we are divine, and we remember our ability and our power, and we're remembering it more and more. So any nefarious, any malicious, any manipulative, we're not here for it anymore. It doesn't serve us. I don't want it. A lot of people don't want it. So I'm keeping it real with you here. I don't have filters. Yeah, I have some music in the background, and yeah, I'm sitting here smelling the eucalyptus that I love to smell because that's what I love, right? But I'm just presenting myself here. 0 followers, 0 people on the feed, hundreds, millions like I've had in the past. It's if the information is for you, if you find this entertaining or educational, then it's for you. And if it's not, it's not. Pound rocks. Don't be a freaking troll. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're showing everybody else where you're coming from. And I'm showing you all where I'm coming from right now. And this is my experience at this moment in time. But there's a lot coming through me. And I do feel like it is stuff that I need to write books about for other people, or that I channel tarot cards and tarot decks and oraculums with my guides and other very prominent, noteworthy, beingness that have absolute access to all of the dimensions all the time that are limited by our human bodies and minds. Sometimes not. Sometimes it gets really crazy. But that's one of the things that I've started to notice, that some of the channels and some of the social media, that when people are like really like authentic, right? What was one of them that I watched? Point of View Husband. And his biggest or their biggest YouTube lately was about them talking about their story. So I know that I need to kind of put like a video up about my story, and I will, but I kind of talk about who I really am in these videos anyways. So I'll try and do it in a smaller snippet because I know that it's just a lot easier for people to digest, like, person's life, how they've gotten to a certain place and who they've become. And a lot of the channels have like this brand focus, which I agree with, because a lot of the time you really have to kind of focus not just the content but the intent. Like, content is intent, right? It is, you have to give like information that other people find valuable, or some people find valuable, within a certain kind of premise and an encapsulation of some sort. But I've seen these channels with millions of people and followers and likes and shares and all of this stuff. And they've been around for a long time. The channel's been around for a long time. And it seemed like what grew them by their very unfiltered, unedited videos at the beginning, and that eventually became like big videos, right? And this has a lot to do with the algorithms too, right? This has a lot to do with where society is at that moment in time and how the algorithms are being designed. So there's a lot of things interwoven into this, but what I'm noticing and what I'm feeling is this very much a backlash to what was traditional social media in general, that people really do not want this filter anymore. They want to have actual conversations with people. They want to have actual access to people, doing the research, writing the books, channeling, the card decks or the oracle or the tarot decks. You have access here. Like, ask me the questions. I have a number of people that, actively like ask questions or make comments and stuff. If any of this interests you, I certainly do that with other YouTube channels. I think that it's incredibly important, and I think that there is this emergence that's absolutely happening from this. And I think that YouTube and a lot of the platforms know about it and are trying to be proactive towards the shift that they're already seeing, because I kind of briefly got through my algorithm, the whole, Zuckerberg and Meta changes about the filtering of content lately, as well as, YouTube changing the algorithm, which I've noticed as a small creator, having a lot more people kind of filter into videos. I'm trying to figure out like the length of lives and all of this kind of stuff, the orientation of them, all of these kind of things, right? Because I like watching it, but I can feel it because I've been in and around social media in particular, but marketing just in general for decades. And I can see that this authenticity thing is coming up. And I also know that whatever it is that we're thinking, we think that it's AI, but it's something that's way beyond even AI. I'm going to tell you right now because I've worked with AGI years ago. And even years ago, it was already more advanced than they want everybody to know. But when we're thinking things, that's actually in the algorithm too. And that's true because this whole thing really is, a lot of people consider it a simulation if you want to have it like an analogy to a computer or technology. Buddha and Buddhists have known for a very long time, as well as Hindu. This has been written for tens of thousands of years, this kind of simulation. And it's true when you get into being without ego and you step into and able to access the different dimensions and being omnidimensional, you have to really be able to take that because it's not easy. It really is a practice to be in various states of remembering before you can get to that point, because it will drive you crazy. It will be like intense immediately, because there's a lot that's constantly flowing through and with and around all of us all of the time. So accessing that and being able to access it's a lot for our brains. But if you want to take the analogy of a simulation, that is one of the ways or perspectives that you can see this, that we're affecting, everything. We're in effect of everything in this interwovenness and interconnectedness. And in that regard, our technology is absolutely starting to and has been connecting to our thoughts. We're not even saying them. We're not even searching for them. We're not even Alexa or Siriing them. We don't even have to verbalize them anymore. They're coming through the thoughts and showing up on our feeds. So that's like a whole nother level that I am just now starting to look at and explore with my dissertation in compassionate technology. But, one way, shape, or form, it's still valid in a lot of different ways. Anyways, this has already been an hour. I really did not expect this to be an hour. So if you listened to this far, thank you. If not, peace be with you no matter what. If you're here through malicious or nefarious or negative reasoning or ways, pound rocks. We're sending everything back to you 1,000-fold. It is what it is. Namaste. Amen. Thank you for being here. There's a lot that's going on, and I am needing the rest right now, and the reflection, and the eucalyptus for it. And I am excited because what I've been shown and told is that next week's live is back on course with omnidimensional authors and my research for it. And we are going to be talking about two people. So I've already talked about one person and myself that have written about and are living in various heteronyms, one body with multiple heteronyms expressing through it. Next week, we're going to talk about the core persons, two physical bodies that united into one beingness to bring humanity over 100 years ago tremendous insight and remembering and understanding, so much so that my entire PhD institute is based off of their work. So extremely powerful. I have a deeply woven interconnection through my lineages, my past life lineages, so much that led me to this institute, that I'm still, my second PhD, which is coming up again, and I'm still very much tied to Harvard through. Yeah, there's so much more to tell you about this year. But the two beingnesses and their omnidimensional authorship, we are going to talk about next week. And I'm excited to bring up more of this within my research, my second PhD, which started as my first, but then has shifted to my second PhD, so I can finish compassionate technologies dissertation and research first. Yeah, anyways, we're going to talk about them because they are amazing, amazing, and there's just so much, and I'm definitely not going to be able to get it into an hour, but I have to take this time now to be able to rest and reflect, because this is a really powerful one to bring through. Two beingnesses, omnidimensional authors that have produced already such just a generous amount of literary pieces, many, many more pieces, spiritual works, an entire community that's still thriving in this world. Yeah, there's a lot here. So thank you for being here, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, I am taking this time now for myself to prepare so that I can come back with an even broader, bigger omnidimensional. They're all amazing. All the omnidimensional authors are amazing. But I'll see you next week, and enjoy your week.